Welcome to the Rat Race to 5 podcast, where we discuss money, mindset, real estate investing, and ways to achieve financial independence. Whether you are a rookie or a veteran needing new ideas for investing or creating side hustles, you're in the right place. Here to challenge you to think out of the box, your hosts, Felipe Mejia and Diego Corzo.
Diego, what's up, man? I'm really excited about today's podcast. We have an awesome couple, Trysten and Kamohai, who are all the way from Hawaii, and they're fix and flips in Hawaii. And they talk about, it's really cool because they talk about their strategy for how they find their deals, how they find off-market deals, and they talk about what's important to them and how they continue that deal flow. I didn't want to say what they said because I want people to listen.
Yeah, no, and one of my favorite things is how the story of their success, right, quote unquote. You can call it from going from analysis paralysis to sharing, and you'll hear all the story about it, but how they didn't make any money on their first deal, to then now this year in 2021 doing 15 flips.
Right.
Like how, like the process on that. So I'm very excited for everybody that's going to be listening to this story.
100%. It's actually going to go down as one of my favorites. I keep saying that. I think it's just because I have really cool people on here. But before we get into it, man, let's just talk about our sponsor. So today's episode is definitely going to be sponsored by reicallcenter.com, where you can get your professional cold callers if you're a realtor or a wholesaler to continue to get that lead flow. And that's important because in this podcast, Trysten talks about how they went from 2 to 3 flips a year to 15 by putting money into marketing. Let's get started. Trysten, Kamohai. Oh, man, I knew I was going to mess it up on the podcast. I'm so embarrassed. Diego, Kamohai, what's up, guys? Hey, I'm so glad that you guys are here. Thank you so much for taking the time out of beautiful Hawaii. Like, I don't know why you're inside right now and talking to me. I'd be outside doing this podcast or something, but thank you so much for jumping on here. Before the podcast, we were talking about a little bit about how you guys ended up in Hawaii, but you were actually raised there, kids, family, names, the whole bit. Let's just rehab that conversation because I think that's super valuable. But yeah, tell me a little bit about your upbringing here in Hawaii.
Thanks for having us. We're super stoked to be here.
Super stoked.
We enjoy just talking story with other investors. So this is
I love
dope.
it.
So I'm Trysten. This is my wonderful husband and business partner, Komohai. We are both born and raised on Oahu, in Kailua, actually on the east side of Oahu. And my background is actually in nonprofits and behavioral health. I'm a licensed mental health counselor by trade. My husband is entrepreneurial. He had clothing stores. You can talk about you.
Yeah. She likes to talk about me too.
That's okay. That's okay. She's proud of her husband. Shoot.
Exactly.
I get it.
But born and raised here, love where we live. Yeah, you should talk about like your family.
Yeah, so born and raised, on the east side, Kailua. My family has been here for generations. So my father actually has 11 brothers and sisters. Ooh. I have 80 or so first cousins that actually live in our hometown here in Kailua. So a big family and the big family actually does help. We'll probably get into it later, but my background is very entrepreneurial. My brother and I, we were like the super like active sports crew, right? We all skateboarded, we rollerbladed, we did all kinds of stuff, but we were always like really creative. So we were the kids that would come to school with the same t-shirt that we designed. Our crew did.
Gang.
Yeah.
Hey, gang.
And so my brother and I actually turned that into a business. About 12 years ago, we started a brand called Aloha Beach Club, and that turned into 3 retail stores. We had 2 here on Oahu that I ran, and then my brother had one in San Diego. So he is still up there in San Diego, and that's what we did.
So you've been entrepreneurial since like the original, since the beginning. So tell me a little bit about how it's like growing up in Hawaii. Because if I'm not mistaken, or actually most people that I've met moved to Hawaii. I don't know. Actually, I do know one person from Hawaii, but not many. So like, what is it like growing up in Hawaii and then seeing transplants and things of that nature? Tell us a little bit about your upbringing.
It's so interesting when like we have to talk about it because it's all we know. So it's like, this is just normal life for us. But I will say we are pretty unique and sheltered, I guess you can say, like in a positive way, because we're on an island. We know nothing else. You know what I mean? And we can drive around our whole island in how many, what do you think?
Like an hour.
No, maybe like
Hour
2, 3.
and a half. No way, hour and a half. Like on the freeways.
With
easy.
traffic.
Yeah.
But we're such a unique place where everybody knows everybody. And it's more so about who you know, and everybody loves each other, and you really rep where your city is, I guess you can say. Like for us, it's Kailua, you know? So it's like, yeah, from the east side, where everyone else is like the west side, central. I don't know.
You're literally known by the high school you went to.
Yes.
That's the first
No
question.
way.
I swear to God. The first question everybody asks you is, what high school you went?
Yeah.
But do you guys like get down
so-and-so.
James Brown with other high schools, or is it like a rivalry?
Dude, there's
Rivalry.
rivalries. Yeah, big time. There's rivalries in the public school system, and then there's a whole nother
Private.
side is the private school
So
system.
he's a private school kid. I'm a public
Rich
school
kid,
girl.
rich kid. That's hilarious.
Our high school was pretty cool, but yeah, I think growing up for me, it was like she said, it's hard to
Like explain
when we're
it,
young,
you know?
because that's all you really know,
Yeah.
but super family oriented.
Mhm.
My family, we actually grew up across the street from a beach. So just playing on the beach, that was our playground. But very, very cultural and family oriented. So I am Native Hawaiian. My parents raised me such in that way. I mean, obviously you hear controversy of, you know, the Native Hawaiian people and all of that stuff. So, but it was always about family. That was like the biggest thing for us. On the weekends, we'd get together, we have big family parties. And yeah, growing up, I mean, I do feel like we're sheltered. We kind of live in a bubble. Luckily, we were able to travel a lot growing up. So we got to see the bigger picture, the United States in general, but a lot of local kids, they never leave the island.
Yeah, they don't know what it's like to be on the mainland, and that's what we call it, the mainland, and experience big cities and other types of houses and building. Like it's foreign, and we feel blessed that both of our families allowed us to travel and experience more than what just this island can provide. But we feel very blessed to be growing up in such a beautiful, unique melting pot with such rich culture. And just like him, I mean, my family was everything. We what we did, we spent time together. And then I think it was like sports and beach. Like that's it.
I love that. And, you know, I guess it's the way you look at it, whether, you know, blessed to only have been on the island or blessed to have traveled, right? Because like, I think it's in some ways, you know, some people could be sheltered by staying on the island, but it could be a good thing too. Because, you know, when you get out to big cities, like there's huge cultural changes and things of that nature. Anyways, that's really cool. I love the community. It really sounds like a lot like our Latin families, right? Where like we get together with our families a lot. We do a lot of things together. We try to keep a tight knit community. So that's really cool. Now before the podcast had started, I actually I got the pleasure to hear your full Hawaiian name and your daughter. So do you just have one child, many kids? You have two. Okay. So I want to hear your full Hawaiian name and then both your kids' full Hawaiian name, if that's okay with you. I love the way it sounded, and I think our listeners are going to love this too.
Totally. So let me preface it by my father actually gives all of the names for our family, my brothers and sisters and everything, and the names come to him in dreams.
Awesome.
It's a very spiritual, cultural thing in the Hawaiian culture, but that's just so to preface it a little. So my Hawaiian name, my full name is Corbett Aaron Kamohai Kalani Kalama, and it means the spiritual music locked in the heavens. Given to me by my father, passed down by my father, and my wife will let you guys know our kids.
My daughter's name is Yasael Ku'upua Mai Ole Ihaku Iemeka Anui Nui Onalani Kalama. And then my son is actually technically a third, but not really because he has the same name. We just changed one. So it's Corbett Vale, Komohai Kiokalani Kalama.
So he's holding my name down.
I love that. So it's the same thing in our culture. So like my grandpa is named Felipe Mejia. My dad is named Felipe Mejia. And then so am I. So there's a lot of cultural same. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, I'm over here. So I just have like Via Alonso, and that's like what my mom just calls me all of the time. But everybody else is here in America is like just one name, right? So Diego.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is awesome. Just the way that there's like history passed down by your parents, right? Going into the names. That's awesome.
So moving into a little bit of real estate, Tristyn, and how did you transition from apparel and being in the business side of it? How did you guys get interested or start wanting to do real estate? Did you just where did that come from? Where did that itch come from?
So I feel like it's always been in our blood per se, because we grew up around it. My family owned a lot of, like, my grandmother and her father owned a lot of Hawaii real estate back in the day, sold a lot of it off, but kept some of it. And I saw how it helped my grandmother, and then what my grandmother was able to do for my father by helping them. And, my dad dabbled in real estate. He was an agent back in the day. And then he acquired some commercial property. And so it's always just been there, but they never made it full-time, like a career. We were always taught, it's something you do on the side. You get a W-2 and then you build your portfolio, you save up money and then you buy a property, and then you save up money and you buy a property. And it's just something you do on the side. It's not a full-time thing. So it's always been a passion. Like, I knew I always wanted to be in real estate. And then when I met my husband and I found out, his dad's ties to real estate, which
so my dad has a long history with real estate, but the same thing. It was never like an active career. He was always on the other side, right? So he got a job at the bank. He worked his way up to an executive position at First Hawaiian Bank, one of the bigger banks here on Oahu. And so they would lend on a lot of real estate stuff, right? From there, he became a trustee at the Kamehameha Schools Bishop Estate, which is a private school here on Oahu, but they're one of the biggest landowners. Yeah. So a lot of their income was generated through real estate. Since then, he's now taken the role as a Harry and Jeanette Weinberg trustee, which is also, they're one of the biggest landowners. So it was so crazy. When I was growing up, we would go to these like events, my dad's events, right? And they were like full of successful people. And I would sit at these tables, and I was a very inquisitive young man. So I would ask everybody, like, what do you guys do? Like, what do I have to do to end up here? Right.
To be like you guys.
Yeah, to be like you guys. And they would always tell me their stories. And it was so crazy because every single person was either directly or indirectly tied to real estate in some way, right? So we had that in our brain kind of programmed in there. And then we decided to take the leap. So she can tell you how that happened.
It just happened and it just felt right. And it was kind of random, actually, because I grew up watching HGTV, you know what I mean? Like everyone does. And I was on the couch. We just had my son, and I saw a commercial for Fortune Builders. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Fortune Builders, but it came on and it was advertising, their free seminar, learn how to do real estate, whatever. And I basically told my husband, I said, we're going to this. And if you don't come with me, then I'm going by myself and I don't care. So he came with me, and then a 3-hour free thing turned into, a couple $100 2-day thing, which then turned into like thousands of dollars worth of mentorship. And it works. And we joined that mentorship. And the rest is kind of history. The first year we didn't do much. We didn't take a lot of action. He was still doing his retail stuff and I was still building the nonprofit. And So a lot of education and analysis paralysis and not really taking action, but it focused a lot on fix and flip.
And but before that, I have to say that I was super hesitant. I was the person that was like skeptical, like these guys, they're just selling us dreams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even though I knew that there was power in it, I was the more skeptical one. And then she kind of dragged me along.
I feel like back maybe like 3 years ago, I was more risky, and now he's more risky. And
the tables have turned.
I'm like, whoa. So like, it's funny just how things pivot and change over time. But yeah, so it focused on fix and flip. So once a year after we joined the mentorship is when we actually started taking action. So that's how we started in real estate. We met with a realtor who was actually, my parents gave her first job. So she knew me since I was super, super little. And I was like, hey, her name's Joss, can you just meet me? And I know we're going to sound crazy on what we want to do, but will you just take a risk and start sending me distressed listings off the MLS, you know, the contractor specials, the needs major repair, just start sending me those. And then I want to make tons of offers and hopefully we get one. And all my offers are going to be super, super low and people are going to get offended, but can you just take that risk with me?
What'd she say? What'd she say to that? Because most realtors are not going to waste their time.
I know. And that's why I attribute a lot of our startup and where we are today to her and taking that risk on us, because if she didn't, we wouldn't be here, to be honest with you, because she was game and she said, okay.
It was totally a who you know situation, right? Yeah. So we were connected to her through family ties. And Tristyn and I, when we put our mind, we're both very passionate people, right?
Oh,
so
we're ruthless, dude.
Yeah.
Like, come on, like call it like it is. Like,
right.
When we want something, we're going to go after it, and we're going to go after it hard.
Right.
And I think that's I attribute a lot of that to our success too, is you kind of got to be that way. You know, if you really want to go after something, you got to be ruthless.
And so did
you make your husband come after you ruthless? Did he have to really
no,
put in
the opposite way?
Oh,
She'll tell you that story. She slid into the DMs.
Oh, man.
Oh, not on the Rat Race to 5 podcast. She did what? Okay, stop the recording. She slid. This is the stories that I love. Nuh-uh, we're gonna rewind. We're gonna get into that one later.
Yeah.
Slid into the DMs and she was like, "I want that one. I like that Hawaiian."
I mean, I can just give a little if you want. We can
of course. Are you kidding?
Okay. So when I was
this is the good stuff.
My master's program, getting in grad school, getting my whatever. He worked. My mom was his boss, so I went to.
She took the pool boy.
Dude, she served him up on a silver platter.
She loved me. She absolutely loved me.
Yeah. So I was getting.
She didn't give Tristyn a choice.
No, she was like, the grass is greener right there, and that's who you need to marry.
And just go.
And she was right. You know, Mama is right.
Oh,
so
for sure.
Shout out to Mama. You're always right. But yeah, so I was at my internship and I was like, hey, Mom, I need hours for this. And she was the program director for a residential substance abuse treatment program. So she let me, get hours there, and it was easy, right? It was easy to get hours. So I sat at her desk while I was there doing whatever she wanted me to do. And his desk was right across from her desk. So we just stared at each other for like months. And I was like, you know what?
That was a setup if I knew
one. We started chatting a little bit on Instagram, this and that. And I just finally slid my number to him in the DMs. And then we went on one date where he thought he was impressing me by taking me to this like super cool canoe club. And I was like, I'm a member here, right?
Place real quick.
And the rest is history. We hung out every day since. And now we're married, 2 kids. Love you. You're dope.
Oh man, that's awesome. I love that story because I think that's the stuff that like that's like the backstory to make it all this work out. I love that story. So I'm glad that you slid into the DMs and that he could. I bet you were like, oh my gosh, this guy can't take a hint. I'm just gonna give him my number.
That's exactly what it was.
That's probably what it was.
Everyone was telling you like, hey, that's the boss's daughter. Don't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, on my side, I was like, oh my gosh, who is that? When I saw her the first time,
and you didn't want to get
coworker.
fired.
Right, exactly. And they're like, don't even think about it. That's the boss's daughter. And I was oh no. So.
No, I heard that. So to transition it back a little bit, we're going to get into the fix and flips and all you guys that did. So you went to this seminar. I think a lot of people have done that whole seminar thing, upsold, whatever. But I saw on your Instagram that you guys have done some flips and you guys do some really cool things. Before we get to that, though, I did want to bring up something to the attention. So Nerds Guide to Fi, Sarah and I, shout out, started this trend on Instagram where we asked real estate investors to present their real estate resumes to keep it real. 'Cause there's so many people that are fake out there. Diego has taught me not to say names, so I'm like being nice here. But Diego's like, dude, if it doesn't bring value, don't say it. So Sarah and I were like, let's call people out and say, tell us your real estate resume to keep things honest, because we have a platform and we have like a duty to those that follow us or whatever to be honest. When you guys made your reel, talk about how you felt doing that, because your reel and I think one other person's were probably the one that had more emotion and more realness in it, and it was raw. Talk a little bit about your reel if you don't mind. And for those that are listening, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to Instagram and follow Trysten. We'll have all their links here, and you'll see their reel where they talk about their real estate resume. So tell us a little bit about that if you don't mind.
It kind of was a no-brainer when I saw it on I didn't actually see it on your two Instagrams. I saw it on somebody else's, and then I commented. I was like, "That's so cool! Thanks for sharing." And she was like, "I want to see yours." And I was like,
was that Zasha?
No, investing in your wealth, Templeton. Last name is Templeton. Okay. I don't know. And I said, babe, we got to make this. And we actually brought on his cousin to help us with Instagram because we see the power of it and whatever. So she actually helped us make it. And that was at my grandma's house where we made it. And it was just a no-brainer for us, because I feel like at the end of the day, he and I, when we first started in real estate, didn't have a lot of open arms and welcoming wishes. You know, it was more like, you don't do this, you can't do this. So we made it our mission once we started to be the opposite of that and to share whatever we can with open arms. And as we learn and we grow, just share it. So it wasn't a hard thing to just share. And we took a lot of hard knocks in the beginning, like a lot. And I thank God that we did, because we learned so much in the beginning that it's like, if we can overcome what we overcame in the beginning, we got this, we can do this. You know what I mean? And I'm thankful every day for our journey and where it is now. And we, like I said, it's our mission. I come from a helping background as a mental health counselor. It's in my blood to just want to help, but I see how real estate can genuinely change people's lives. So if I can share that as I'm learning and I'm growing, why the F not?
I think for me, it just always comes back down to authenticity, right? Like if you're doing something and you're really passionate about it, there's a responsibility. I feel like there's a responsibility to share it. And so when we find reels, like stuff like that, where you're able to put something together that you're authentically doing and share it, it's really easy. It's really easy to do that. Yeah. But also there's a responsibility to that. So it was, we love doing it. We actually did it at one of our projects that we have going on right now. That had a special story that how we got it. But yeah, it was an easy thing to put together. But I think it's just because it's just our life. Yeah.
Yeah. And it'll bleed through. People can smell BS from a mile away. I feel like in this industry, you know what I mean? And be real, just be who you are, because you always have value and something to share.
Agreed.
Yeah, for sure. And question for you, you mentioned that in your first year, you had like analysis paralysis. What changed to make you go from the first year of not knowing when to take action to then having year 2 and 3 just go?
I think timing had a lot to do with it, because I was ready. I was waiting for my husband. I
think I held her back. Honestly, I was that pessimistic dude, and everything had to be perfect, and we weren't ready yet. And I was still in a mindset. I wasn't in the right mindset. That's literally what it comes down to. I was always telling her, we can't afford that. We can't do that. And for a lot of that first year was just me coming around and like doing my own research and figuring things out. And I think she would have like jumped in right in the beginning.
Yeah. Which is why we have good balance, I think. And we level each other out, because when one's just wanting to like climb Mount Everest, the other one's like, wait, let's try and plan it a little bit. Maybe we should sleep at the base camp for a sec, like, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. Because I bet you that's something, well, I bet you, I know that's definitely something that in, like with your significant other, there's that type of conversations, like, are we ready? One may not think that they're ready and so forth. So, but then now with your flips, can you break the numbers in one of your first couple of flips?
Yeah, we made $0.
Dude.
Oh, wow. You knocked it out of the park. You did better than most people do on their first one, though, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So our first deal was off of the MLS through our realtor Joss. She put in the offer, and it's funny because I think that day we looked at 10,
12 houses. Yeah.
And that was the last home we saw, and we saw it in the dark. So we really couldn't see what we were looking at. And of course that's the offer that we got. And it was in central Hawaii, in Honolulu, in a city called Kamohai. It was a tiny little home, like a 3-2, like 1,000 square feet.
Yeah, 1,024 square feet. We bought it for $615.
Yeah.
$615. We estimated rehab around $120. We went way over that.
Wrong. Yeah.
And then we ended up selling it for $915.
Yeah.
But we held it for a really long time, and we went way over on our rehab costs. So a lot of lessons.
So one of them was don't buy stuff in the dark. We got hit with major foundation issues. So we had to literally dig down under each post. It was a post and pier home, and reinforce each post, which basically made it a brand new house. So what we thought was going to be like 20 grand and costing 40 grand. And Adobe soil, we won't, not fans of it. Don't know if I'll ever want to touch a house that's on Adobe soil ever again. So just got hit with a lot of stuff. Our contractor was not good. So the job cost more and took longer than it should have. Luckily we brought in family, and thought my brother's a very skilled carpenter. So I brought him in to kind of help speed things up. And then when we went to market, the pandemic hit and Hawaii completely shut down. So we sat on the market for like
the week we
4
listed,
yeah.
Hawaii shut down totally. And I mean,
got scared.
I'm sure, yeah, everybody can remember that time, right? Like lenders, everybody's getting their pre-approvals pulled. Yeah. Even hard money lenders like froze for a little while. Yeah. So it was a really uncertain time. And so we ended up sitting on the market for, I think, 6 months.
I want to say it was like maybe 4, but yeah, it was forever. You know what I mean?
In real estate, that's years.
Yeah. And we had to do price reductions, which is like a deal killer, right? In real estate. So hindsight's 2020. We probably should have just refied out of it and kept it as a rental. Could have been a slam dunk burr. I mean, it appraised for $950 and we ended up selling it at $915. So like if it could have been a total win if there wasn't a global pandemic. So there's just things out of your control, and we
made no money.
$0. Oh yeah.
That was it. But I mean, we walked out unscathed. Right. And we walked out with a crazy education.
And we also got a violation from TPP, our permitting department, on that property after the rehab was done. So in addition to, foundation, global pandemic, we also had to clear up violations. Like it was rough.
Man, what's interesting though is like, I like this because, like you said, you got all your lessons in one deal, right? And I bet I haven't even asked you about your second deal. And I bet you crushed it compared to the first one, or did a lot better. And even if you made $0, you made millions in education that you would have had to have paid for, or walked with somebody or paid someone else to do it. But now you were able to learn it yourself. Not just that, I bet it brought you guys closer together. And now you can do real estate together even better because you know each other's strengths and weaknesses, what you're good at, what you're good at, what each should handle. I bet your processes and procedures got better. And a lot of times people won't do their first deal because they're scared to go through the mud like you guys literally had to go through. But once you're on the other side, you have so much more education. And then the problem is when people stop after that. Like you did one, and then the issue would have been if you would have took all that knowledge and then stopped. That would have been the problem. But because you kept going is where your success is coming out of. Diego, do you have any questions? I want to get to the second deal and see what happens.
Yeah. Before that, I do want to ask, what made you guys say, you know what? We didn't make any money on this one. Let's go for it a second time. Rather than at least we tried, but it didn't work. Let's move on with our lives. What made you go again for the second try?
Stupidity.
No, I think it comes back to this passion thing. Like we ended up getting our second deal under contract before we even sold our first one. Yeah. So we were 100% committed. I do think that there may have been a little more hesitancy if we just lost a ton of money on the first deal, but we didn't, right? Yeah. And so it was a lot of us having conversations and we were committed to this is what our path was going to be. And then what do you think?
I mean, it just goes, I think, deeper to just knowing we had proof of concept, right? Like, okay, if we can do this, I guarantee when we actually make money, it'll be so worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then everything you were just talking about, Felipe, literally all of those lessons that we were learning in there, we saw the potential if we had done those things. And we are the kind of people that were like, okay, let's go and let's not make that mistake again. Or let's try not to, because the upside is there's so much possibility and potential. Yeah. And we were so close. Like we knew we analyzed the deal right. We knew we ran our numbers right. We got hard money. We raised private money. All these things that we were taught, we proved. So we knew we could do it. We just had to get better.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me jump in here real quick. You used hard money and you used private money. Did everyone get paid back? Okay, let me tell you why you're going to be successful. A lot of people don't realize that as owners, we eat last, right? You built a relationship out of this. You built a hard money and a private money lender relationship because they got paid. When you do what you say you're going to do in real estate, that is all we have in real estate, right or wrong. All we have is our name. Felipe pays back. Felipe doesn't pay back. Diego flips. Diego pays back before he even takes a bite out of that bread, right? You made sure everyone got their bag first, and you ended up with nothing except lessons and relationships. But what is real estate made out of? Lessons and relationships. So I think that you guys came out on top regardless of financial gain on that one. But I want to hear about how it's working now. How many flips have you done now? If you want to tell us profit on one of them, that would be great, because I want the listeners to know that that's not where the story ends.
No, that was just the beginning. I feel like we're just in the beginning, dude. Like 2022 is gonna be killer. Like we got a 5-year head down grind, because for us, real estate was about time freedom. I mean, real estate always provides money, right? But what does the money do? It provides time freedom. And that's what's really important for us.
So our first year, we did nothing, right? We did no deals. We were a lot of analysis paralysis. We were figuring things out. Our second year, we did those 2 flips. So we did 2 flips the second year. We're on our third year. We have up until this point this year, just in this year alone, done,
I gotta count,
like 15.
Go look at the reel.
Wow.
So we had exponential growth from our second year.
Before you keep going, what was that exponent? Why? What happened? Did you just buy the right pair of shoes? Did you find the right contractor? I feel like every investor has this like 10x moment. What was it for you guys?
You know what it was? What I attribute it to, and you can tell me what you attribute it to, but it was finding the right community and people. So we joined another mentorship, a creative finance mentorship. And in that mentorship, we found a community of Hawaii investors that when you surround yourself by the right people, it changes your world genuinely. And I attribute a lot of our growth to that and what it's done for our mindset, our direct to seller marketing, our SOPs, just all of it.
Now, before you answer on the other side, I'm going to give you a huge husband advice, dude. Just say your wife, and you're golden for 3 months. And just say your wife, dude, and for 3 months you'll get away with anything. Go.
Definitely my wife.
Oh God.
Done. You just won, bro. You won.
Winner.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
red. I love it.
I have to agree with her. I think the finding the right mentor and community was a huge thing for us. Yeah. There were things that we didn't even know we didn't know, if that makes any sense. Yeah. And so when we found the right community, it opened our eyes to so much more possibility. The first mentorship we were in told us we had to buy deals on the MLS, or we could do direct mail, or we could put up bandit signs. That's it.
That was it.
The second mentorship showed us a whole nother possibility. And it also showed us that, yes, we are in the real estate business, but we're a marketing and sales company. And prior to that, we had done no marketing direct to seller. One of the big shifts is we understood that was a piece that was missing, and we took daily consistent action in building out our marketing and sales.
What was your marketing?
Before or now?
Both.
Before was none. It was our realtor sending us deals off the MLS.
And then now
making offers. Now, whew.
Now I have become a little obsessed with sales and marketing. And I mean, we're obviously seeing the fruits of it, but we do SMS, we cold call. We also do PPC, and a little direct mail to some super niche lists.
And relationships, like you said, in this business is about relationships. So realtor referrals, and Komohai is a genius and connected with junk removal companies, and we get referrals from them.
Referral business. Yeah. So
love it.
That's a story in itself.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. We've done 3 deals this year from junk removal guys.
Those
leads.
are like the grittiest, best deals because you're seeing the distress in real time. It's crazy.
We literally just listed one.
Write that down.
We listed one yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'll just give you a quick numbers breakdown on it. Purchase for $830. It came from a junk man referral.
This house had holes in the roof. We had to tear. It was basically.
It was a rough one.
It should have been a tear down, but we did not tear it down.
Yeah. Put in right around 270 in the rehab, 270 grand. We're listed right now at 1675.
Ooh, that's going to be beautiful.
Yeah. Wow. So those are like, I mean, the whole other side to Hawaii is, we're on an island. It's very small, and it's more difficult per se to find deals. But when you do find a deal, the margins are very large. So you don't necessarily need to do like a ton of volume here to be very profitable.
Yeah.
And so, I mean,
but with the 15 that you guys are going to be doing, or that you've already done, you mentioned 15 is what you've done in 2021, correct?
Correct.
Yes. So, I mean, with the potential, with the profits on that, just by doing 15, it's a solid year. So that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. I think for us too, we're trying to figure out how many deals at one time is too much. You know what I mean? We're trying to figure out
all the deals, Trysten. All the deals.
So
Someone asked me in the gym the other day, well, how many sets do you have? And I was like, I still have all of them.
I got all the sets. I got all the sets.
Till I'm done. Sorry,
so
Trysten, go ahead.
For us, like in the fix and flip part of the business, our goal is to do 20 a year. So
Trysten, I challenge you to do 40 next year. I challenge you to do 40 flips. I think you can do 40 flips. I can see that happening. We're bringing you back next
believe in
December.
you too. I feel like we could do it too. It's just a matter of if I want to do.
Facts, right? You are on the beach, bro. I couldn't be in Hawaii flipping, bro, because I'd be on the beach, like picking up the phone, like, I don't want to do that today. This is too pretty out here. I'll do it tomorrow.
I want to go surf. I want to go surf.
I'm gonna go surf. Screw this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flooring? Nah, we good. We'll do that tomorrow.
It's totally like that sometimes.
It is.
Oh, I bet.
I
It
mean,
is. Sometimes it's hard.
we're literally in the phase where we're team building now, right? So we're trying to, dude, the goal is always passive income. So out of those 15, we bird 2, we bought 1 creatively.
We kept 5.
We kept 5 out of those 15. So we turned 2 of them into Airbnbs. We bought 1 Airbnb creatively with seller finance. And then
2 Airbnbs, creative finance.
2 creative finance. And then we were burring 2 condos. So the goal is passive income, right? So we're trying to get to that point, and building our cash flow. And then at the same time, we're trying to build ourselves out of our business, right? We're like, that's always the goal, right? So this year, along with the growth, we also built our team out. We do have VAs. We have, project manager, lead manager, brought on, right, a few more contractors that just work exclusively for us. So
let me ask you really quick about your marketing, because I know a lot of people right now are having to find off-market deals just because the market's hot everywhere, right? If you're listening, your market is not special, friend. Every market is really, really hot. Everyone's like, but my market's hot. I'm like, every market is hot right now. Don't give me that crap.
Oh, no, I'm in Austin, Felipe.
Diego, hush. Your market is just as bad. Everyone's as bad. So let's talk about your marketing. You said you do some text message, I don't think you said ringless voicemail, but I think you said direct marketing and then cold calling as well. Do you guys do the cold calling, or do you have a VA do it? Talk to us about a little bit deeper into your marketing, specifically cold calling, if you want.
Yeah. So cold calling, we have a full-time VA that just one VA. So for us here, there's literally 300,000 addresses on Oahu. That's all. Just 300. So I pulled all the data. That's how I do it.
Why not?
Right. And pull all the data. And one of our VAs can call through that data fairly quickly. Right. I mean, within 6 months or so. And so that's all I do. And then we'll just update those lists. So one full-time VA that's cold calling. Then we have one full-time VA that sends out text messages. And then we have a full-time VA that takes care of those 2 VAs. So an admin VA. Yeah. And that's on the cold calling text message side.
Yep. So that's awesome. And I know that works because as a flipper or a wholesaler, you need that continual deal flow. And if at any point you do stop, ramping that back up, it's just like going to the gym. It's so hard. If you stop, do a deal, and then try to go find another deal, you're going to have 6 months of nothing. So you have to continue to advertise and continue to do that. And I think that's where a lot of people maybe kind of slack off. They'll go 3 months without a deal coming in, and they'll be like, okay, well, this isn't working, instead of just continuing that grind. And that's why you're going to do 15, 30, 40, or however many you decide to do. I think that's awesome. I really wanted to dig into a little bit of that. So that's really cool.
And that was the piece that we were missing, because when we got our first deal, when we got our first deal, all marketing stopped and we just focused on that one deal. And then you're starting over every single time, and we're like, this is not how you do things. So joining that, that creative finance mentorship really allowed us to realize, like you said, that we're a marketing company and have constant deal flow. If you have no deals, you have no business.
I was talking to a multimillionaire one time, and I asked him, I said, hey, how do I go from a second level, high level, 6-figure earner to that $1 million a year? Like, how do I go to $1 million plus a year? And he said, if you're asking me that question, I know that you haven't marketed and hired. And that's all he said. He was like, if you're asking me the question of how to go from a high 6-figure earner to $1 million a year or plus, it's because you have not hired enough and you have not marketed enough. And I was like, oh, okay. Thank you. That was it. Those are the 2 things that he said, hiring and marketing. If you just spend more marketing dollars and hire more people to take over positions, then you are going to do better. Because at first, everyone starts the same. We all wear all the hats. We're the contractor, we're the marketer, we're the Instagram, we're everything. But you slowly hire those positions out, and you maybe stick around at the best position that you're at, and then you hire everything else out. And then you focus on marketing. And he was like, that's it, man. That's how you take any business to the next level. You hire and market as soon as you can afford it.
So true.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. I mean, that's literally what we started to implement.
Right
yeah.
I love it.
That's cool. So for next year, you mentioned that that your goal is going to be to do 20 and maybe 40. But out of those 20, how many of those do you guys want to keep again?
So we actually just had this conversation, and I think 1 in every 3 or 4 we want to keep. That's the goal.
Cool.
Yeah.
But for us, we really want to acquire our portfolio through creative finance. So that's kind of also a pivot and a goal to.
Can you explain that really quick? Creative finance, for those that are listening, you don't have to go into super detail, but 30,000 of you, what is it and how does it work?
There's a bunch of creative finance strategies, but it's basically where you can acquire property with no traditional mortgages and no banks.
Okay.
Yeah. That's like the simplest way.
Yeah, super simple way to kind of explain it.
Can you give us an example of one of the 15 that you've done this year? Yeah. Of how that worked out?
Yeah, you want like
do you want a unicorn killer, or you want like a base hit?
I would say a base hit.
Okay. Do why
not? Okay. Well, you're the numbers guy though. Like I'm just the project manager.
So the one thing is we do like a ton of different kinds of properties, right? So for a condo, we do anything from like a condo. We've done a few condos this year, all the way to
1-bedroom tiny condo.
Yeah, like a 1-bedroom condo, all the way to like single family where we tear it all the way down to the studs and basically rebuild the house. So obviously, you know, the numbers on the condo and how much time and money we have to put into it compared to what we're happy walking away with is totally different. But this is a deal for a single family home. And it's out on the west side in a very not a
gentrification, up and coming
area. And we bought the house through a text message. So it came from a SMS as a marketing strategy. And we bought it for $365,000.
Wait, you gotta give the backstory.
Well, I mean, I can give the backstory too. If you want.
Yeah.
Okay,
Skipping
perfect.
around.
Let me give you the backstory. So I reached out to this guy after the SMS, and basically we had a few conversations, and we ended up locking the property up. So locked it up sight unseen, like didn't see it. We went out to look at it. When we were looking at it, there was a ton of unforeseen foundation issues, right? It's a very common thing to run across that stuff here in Hawaii. So I went back to him and I totally straight up told him, I was like, dude, I'm sorry. I didn't know that there's this extensive damage underneath the house. I can't pay the price that we agreed upon. I need it for, this price. And at that time he said, no, I don't want to do it. And we said, okay. And so I followed up with him every single, probably once or twice a week.
I need everyone to listen to this part right here. Follow-up game strong.
Yeah.
Followed up with him for every one or two times a week for the next 6 months. 6 months. And finally, he actually reached out to me. It wasn't even one of the follow-up calls that I was calling him. He reached out and he's like, Kamohai, something has come up. I need to sell right now. Are you still interested?
Yeah.
So we're like, yes, let's go back out there. I met up with him. We ended up locking the property up for $20,000 less than what we originally were going to pay for it. Right.
Let's
so
go.
we locked it up for $365. We went in, we did $157,000 rehab on it.
Yep.
In 2.5 months was our rehab time. Listed on the market for $685, selling it for $726.
Oh, I love that. I love that. But there's no deals out there, guys. There's no deals out there, remember?
Yeah. There's no deals. Yeah. I think we made 126 on that one.
Yeah, something like that.
You know what's crazy is that the recipe for success I hear over and over again. As I'm surrounding myself more with successful people, I'm hearing that everyone does the same thing: marketing, hiring, and add follow-up. If you can do that, you are going to be okay. Now, Diego and I own a real estate cold calling company. It's called REI Call Center, right? Our clients, we have about 50, I think we're close to 50 now, have a virtual assistant cold caller calling all day from they're getting 2 or 3 hot leads a day. And we have people that are like itching to get another cold caller, nothing in between. And then we have people that are like, this isn't working. And it's really interesting, the dynamic of 2 different people where it's like, have you followed up with your leads? Have you continued to call? Like, well, I got a lead and she said no. Yeah, get it out of the way so that you can start the crowd. Like, get that no out of the way so that you can continue that follow-up, which is why we said earlier, like, you have to continue marketing and deal flow, because if not, you're going to get a bottleneck in your business. And that's the same thing for realtors and the same thing for real estate, anything real estate related, flipping, wholesaling. If you're a buy and hold, follow-up game, marketing and hiring, like that's how you're going to get to the next level.
Fortune is in the follow-up.
100% agree.
I think that fortune is in the follow-up. Somebody put that on a shirt.
Totally in the follow-up. I think our average deal, we're touching people about 10 times, at least 10 times before it turns into a contract. So, I mean, and this is the thing super important to remember is like, okay, you're committing to some marketing and you start marketing to someone. A lot of the deals that you're going to see from that marketing aren't going to happen the first couple of weeks,
right away,
the first month. Those deals are going to start happening 4 months down the line.
Yeah. I always tell people to wait 90 to 120 days.
Right. Yeah. 30, 40, 3 months to 4 months down the line. And you're just building that pipeline. Right. So I always tell people, be able to commit to at least, like you just said, 90, 120 days, have that budget, and then make sure you're following up, because those deals are going to happen, down the line.
Yeah.
Exactly. I agree 100%. Trystyn, Kamohai. Did I say it right?
Yep.
Got it. Kamohai. I love it. Guys, thank you so much for being on this podcast with Diego and I today. You guys crushed it. People are going to get a ton of value out of this. If you were listening in, please rewind it and listen to it on like 0.5 slow, because there was so much information in there. They literally gave you the secret sauce to their business, which was marketing and follow-up game, right? And then follow through. That's the next one. So awesome. Seriously, guys, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us. Diego, any last words?
No, thank you very much. Where can people find you? What is your IG, or if you have a website, anything?
The best place to see what we're doing and contact us is our Instagram at Komohai and Tristyn.
I love that.
Komohai and Tristyn. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, super stoked. We're thankful for you guys.
Talk for days.
Yeah, we'll talk forever. But I do have to say that you guys are some of the first people that we started following when we're getting into the business. Yeah. So very inspiring. And I actually love your style, Felipe. Mm-hmm. You tell it how it is.
Love it.
You're a straight shooter, and that's what's drawn me to you. Yeah. So keep doing that. Yeah. I like that.
Honored to be here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. And we ever go to Hawaii, Felipe, we have to
absolutely hit up.
Check out some other flips and visit them.
Yeah.
Would love that.
The Rat Race to 5 podcast, where we discuss money, mindset, real estate investing, and ways to achieve financial independence. Whether you are a rookie or a veteran needing new ideas for investing or creating side hustles, you're in the right place.